when I first started my project build, I bought Chinese fuel injectors, and those were counterfeit Bosch 440cc injectors. And when I first tried to start the car, I noticed that one of the injectors was letting fuel through permanently without being activated by the ECU. And I didn't notice at first, and I had a pretty catastrophic failure, so to say, because I lit my whole engine on fire. The fuel was getting out of the exhaust port. I had no gasket between the header and the header flange, and my car started burning. And that terrified me, so I decided to build a injector test bench or flow bench to see if injectors are stuck or don't fully work before I put them in the car and find out too late. So I give you a little build breakdown of this. So here at the bottom I have the tank, which is made from 2mm steel plate or steel sheet. It's the base and the tank also for the fuel. I have 4 legs on here with screws to level it out. Then I have a stand, basically, two beams, and on these beams I have my fuel rail, which is you can adjust the height, so for different size injectors and so on, and it makes it easier to put them in and out. And here I have 6 graduated cylinders, which are 100 milliliter ones, 1% I think. I mounted those on a hinge. So after you are done measuring, you just can raise up the fuel rail and dump the fuel in here. Here on the back I made this rectangular funnel out of aluminum sheet, so when you drain them you just can pour them in all at once. Then I have a fuel pump mounted here. So this is a Chinese knockoff Bosch 044, which has a fitting here in the tank, sucks directly from the tank, and then goes out. I used 8x14mm fuel hose. So this goes into this fuel filter here, high pressure fuel filter, into the rail. And here is a adjustable fuel pressure regulator, which then drains back into the tank. And to control this thing, I made this little control box here. This control box houses an Arduino Uno and some buttons and 2 LEDs. There's nothing more in there except the Power Mosfet, which I used here. So this is a standard Arduino Uno, and I have basically 6 modes. So I have 6 seconds continuous, 12 seconds continuous, dynamic mode, and then I have modes S1 to S5. These modes I can use to determine injector dead time. But this function it takes a long time, and if you have a car ready and you know the basic settings of the injectors, it's easier to do this in the car to determine the dead time of the injectors if you're using sequential injection. It's easier to just do it in the car. So I haven't used this yet. So there's the 2 modes, 6 seconds, 12 seconds to continuous. So depending on the size of injector you're testing, can choose either of those, and then dynamic testing. So this continuous mode is to determine the fuel delivery rate, and dynamic is just for comparable testing between injectors. And these modes you can switch here, so I have a mode switch here and these 4 buttons. So up is 6 seconds, S1 and so on, and down is this. So for the control of the injectors, they are just paired up here. I have EV1 plugs here, and all those plugs go onto the same Power Mosfet, which is an N-channel Mosfet and has a logic level gate. So the Mosfet switches on from 2.8 volts or so, I think, with this configuration. And yeah, this is powered by, I have a big battery charger here, which can deliver 70 amps if I'm not mistaken. So just 12 volt power goes into here, feeds the pump, and inside this box there's the Arduino, Power Mosfet, some switches, and a voltage regulator. So the input voltage doesn't matter if it's between 7 and 30 volts basically. The supply voltage is always 5 volts to the Arduino. So let's see what we got. Just switch on the power supply. Pump starts up. It's a little noisy. I have here my gauge. Adjust the fuel pressure. 3 bars where I test these injectors. I only have 3 hooked up now. These are counterfeit Siemens 80-pound injectors, EV1 style, 60 millimeters long. And I'll just do the dynamic test mode. I lower this here, a little hard one-handed. Very hard one-handed. Here I'm stuck. Now we're talking. Lower this down a bit so there's not so much spillage. Fix it here. And then we can start, for example, the dynamic test mode. Let's see. They're a little apart, 1% or so. It's the same for the dynamic test mode, for the continuous test mode. Yeah, and that's all there's to it. Thanks for watching.